Tragically and out of the blue, Frank Sutton died the day after telling his wife his secret. American actor Frank Sutton was best known for playing Sergeant Vince Carter on the 1960s show Gomer Pyle, USMC. Carter was a tough guy who didn't put up with nonsense. Sutton was born in Clarksville, Tennessee on October 23, 1923. He loved acting from a very young age. He got his start in theater by acting in school plays. It was during these years that he formed a strong love for acting. His father worked at the neighborhood newspaper as a linotype operator, and his mother ran the household. It was in a small southern town that Sutton learned to work hard and enjoy telling stories, two traits that he took with him into his playing career. From the start, Sutton showed that she was naturally good at performing. During high school, he was involved in drama clubs and learned a lot about being on stage that year. He became more and more interested in the skill, and after high school he went to Columbia University in New York to study drama as a major. This move was very important because it put him in the middle of one of the most famous theater scenes in the world, from a small town in Tennessee. Sutton was able to improve his skills and stage appearance while he was at Columbia and get to know the performing arts inside and out. The Shakespearean works and classical plays he read as a child would shape how he played the parts that made him famous. When the U.S. joined World War II, Sutton's life changed in a big way. Sutton, like a lot of young men his age, put his job on hold to serve his country. He became a soldier in the U.S. Army and fought in the South Pacific during the war. Having been through war had a big impact on Sutton and made him very disciplined and strong. He would use these traits in his most famous parts, especially as Sergeant Carter. His time in the service also helped him develop the authoritative and bossy personality that he would use in his writing. Even though war was hard, Sutton found comfort in making his fellow men laugh, often putting on skits or impersonations to make people laugh. Not only did his service shape who he is, but it also taught him a lot about military life, which helped him a lot in his acting job. Sutton moved back to New York City after the war, eager to follow his dream of becoming a professional actor. But, like many other people who want to be performers, he had a hard time getting into the show business, which is very competitive. While trying out for parts in theater, radio, and TV, Sutton did a number of odd jobs to make ends meet. Even though things went wrong, Sutton stayed dedicated to his skill. He went to acting workshops and made connections with people in the business. In the early 1950s, during what is often called the golden age of television, he started getting small parts in live TV shows. His hard work paid off. He got his big break when he was cast as Gunnery Sergeant Vince Carter on Gomer Pyle USMC, a show based off of Andy Griffith. Sergeant Carter was one of the most popular TV characters in the 1960s, and Sutton's career would never be the same after that part. Sergeant Carter, played by Sutton, was the perfect contrast to Private Carter, who was funny but clumsy. Booming voice and never-ending irritation with Gomer's antics produced a dynamic that kept people watching. Carter was mean to Gomer and often yelled at him, but there was love between the two characters that made their relationship sweet and easy to understand. Many people, both veterans and civilians, connected with Sutton's performance as the strict drill sergeant because he brought honesty and heart to the part. How well Gomer Pyle did. USMC made Sutton famous all over the country. The show had 5 seasons from 1964 to 1969. During that time, Sutton became well known. His performance was praised by critics and won him friends all over the country. Even though Sutton played a tough guy on TV, he was actually a kind and giving person who was loved by both his co-workers and his fans. Sergeant Carter was one of the most famous figures of the time because he could be tough and funny at the same time. After the end of Gomer Pyle, USMC, Sutton kept working regularly in theater and TV. Sergeant Carter would always be linked to Sutton, but he looked for different parts to show how versatile he was as an actor. He was in a number of TV shows, such as The Untouchables, Gunsmoke, and The Twilight Zone, showing that he can be versatile in both comedic and dramatic parts. Sutton also went back to his first love, acting on stage, where he was in many shows, such as The Odd Couple and The Andersonville Trial. People liked what he did in theater, and he showed that he was more than just a television star. Sutton was a very versatile actor who could give powerful performances in a wide range of styles. Even though Sutton was successful in his career, in his personal life he was stable and devoted to his family. He married Toby Igler, the girl he met in college, in 1946, and they were together until his sudden death. They had 2 kids together, and Sutton was known for being a great dad and husband. Even though his job was demanding, he put his family first and lived a pretty quiet life away from the public eye. Sutton worked hard at his job and played famous roles in movies and TV shows that will last for a long time. Many years after he died, new generations are still introduced to his work through reruns of Gomer Pyle, USMC. This solidifies his reputation as one of the best character players of his time. Tragically, and out of the blue, Frank Sutton died the day after telling his wife his secret. Before he died, Frank Sutton hid the fact that he was sick for a long time. He knew that his illness could not be cured. Igler, his wife, and his children say that Frank Sutton was a kind man who loved his wife and children very much. Every time Frank Sutton had a heart attack, he hid it from everyone and unexpectedly destroys his life. He knows that something unexpected is going to happen, and his sickness and health will kill him. The man told everyone before he died that he had heart disease, but he wouldn't say when it started. That also shows how much he loves his wife. Toby M. Igler told him that I feel sorry for him right now. Good times with each other are all that's left. Sutton's life was tragically cut short when he had a heart attack on June 28, 1974, while getting ready for a live show in Shreveport, Louisiana. He was only 50 years old. His sudden death shocked his friends and people in the entertainment business. Sutton was still in great demand as an actor at the time of his death, and his career didn't look like it would slow down anytime soon. People who liked comedic TV shows thought there would never be another character quite like him after he died. His co-stars, especially Jim Nabors, have happy memories of Sutton over the years. They often talk about how close they were as friends and how much they respected each other. Fans of old TV still talk about Frank Sutton's contributions to the show and his memorable performance as Sergeant Vince Carter. A lot of people still praise his work on Gomer Pyle, USMC, for how well it combined fun and character depth. The part felt real because of him, drawing from his time in the service, and he left a legacy that lives on today. He will always be remembered as one of the greats of his time. Following Sutton's death, there was a flood of sadness from fans, co-workers, and family and friends. His death happened at a time when people were so connected to him, from his part on Gomer Pyle, USMC, that they thought they had lost Sergeant Carter himself. Millions of people had laughed and been happy because of Sutton, and his quick death left a deep sense of loss. His friends and co-stars said he was a kind and warm guy, not at all like the strict parent he played on TV. The death of Sutton was especially hard on his family. He left his wife, Toby Igler, and their 2 children. They had to deal with the quick loss of a father and husband. He had been so full of life and energy right up until the moment he fell. This made the shock of his death even worse. The fact that he died at the relatively young age of 50 also showed how fragile life is, especially for famous people whose private problems are often hidden from view.